Well, I'm back out to my shed again. I'm feeling a little bit better. A few of you have been asking me. I left a few comments on, I can't remember whose video it was. It might have been OCC's video. But I left a comment that I said, oh, that's an easy thing to unseize. And he says, unseize? I thought when something seized, it was dead. But that's not true. So today I'm going to show you how to unseize an engine. I use this for demonstration. This works on overhead valve engines, like that one. This works on L engines. I think they're called L engines anyways, like this, like just a flat head engine. It works on 2 cycles. Actually, believe it or not, yeah, it's getting messy in here. Well, this yard machine is my favorite weed eater of all time. It was actually totally seized when I received it. Here's a few methods you can use. I used LMT to unseize that. I use LMT. It's a blaster product. I use LMT to do 2 cycles because it's just it's a lighter thing to unseize them. Let's see. So you can use LMT blaster. I wouldn't use blaster PB. I wouldn't use PB blaster. I just wouldn't. First of all, it's got a lot of things in it that it wouldn't be too bad to unseize an engine, but the stuff that's in it isn't the greatest for an engine. So I guess if it's your last resort, you could, but if you use that, don't blame me for things that happen to it. So you can use LMT made by Blaster. You can use a diesel mix. Some people use just straight diesel to unseize an engine. I use a diesel mix. I mix diesel with a little bit of Marvel mystery oil and put it in a cylinder. You can use straight diesel. You can use straight Marvel mystery oil. I wouldn't use just regular oil because it's too thick, and it doesn't penetrate that well. You can use penetrating oil like liquid wrench. That's pretty much it that I can think of. But the first thing you want to do is, if you have an engine like this that's this way, the first thing you want to do is tip the engine upwards like this, just like that. So the piston is facing up like this. And say this was seized. This isn't. I can turn it over easily, but see, it's not seized. But say this was seized and it just doesn't turn over. What you want to do is you pull the spark plug out. Inspect the spark plug for rust. If it's a huge amount of rust, then it's probably the piston's probably rusted in. You can still try these methods to see if you can get it to run. So, first thing you want to do is you want to pull the spark plug out, inspect the spark plug, then inject your mix into there. The best thing I found for 4 cycles is a diesel Marvel mystery oil mix. Let's see, like regular size mason jars. Half of that diesel, and then like that much Marvel, so it's a little more than half of the jar, but you'll never use that much, so you just kind of have to gauge, So you put some diesel in there. Don't use gasoline. It's not penetrating as diesel is, and it doesn't lubricate like diesel does. So you put some diesel down there and put a little bit of Marvel in there, and you leave it sitting like this. You leave it for 2 days to a week, and you just leave it soaking. The longer you let it soak, the better it will unseize. This will also free up stuck piston rings most of the time. Let's see. The next thing you want to do is, say after that week is done, after, like, when you put the mix in there, though, you want to put the spark plug back on. And then once that week or 2 days or however many days, you don't want to do hours, you want to do days. 2 days at minimal, a week at best, Then you set the engine back down, you pull the spark plug out, and you try to turn it over. You try and try and try and try, and if everything just fails to turn it over, if it's a lawnmower, take the blade and try to push the blade around. You know, if that still doesn't work, try putting a wrench on the bolt on the flywheel, trying to turn it clockwise. Don't do counterclockwise, do clockwise on everything. Now if all else fails, you want to pull your cylinder head off, inspect what's going on down inside. If it's absolutely just rusted over, if there's like rust coming off of the cylinder walls, it's a scrap engine, unless you hone it back out, and still even honing won't usually fix that. But if it doesn't look too bad, if there's just a little bit of surface rust or just a little bit of rust in there, it's usually okay. But the last resort that I usually use, which I've used once or twice before, is you open up the cylinder head, hope and pray that piston isn't all the way down at the very bottom. Hope it's at least up a little bit, or maybe all the way up. All the way up is the best. Well, not all the way up, but you know, just like that much past the wear ring that usually happens. And then you take a 4x4 and you put it on there, and you take a small hammer and hit it and hit it and hit it, and see if you can get that piston to move down in there. Now if you can't get it to move, try a little bit bigger of a hammer and work around the edge of the piston. Make sure you're not denting the piston. Do not use the hammer straight on the piston, because it will dent it, and therefore you'll ruin the piston. The reason why you want to use a plank of wood is because the wood takes the shock, but it still pushes on the piston with force. So you try to work it in. If you work it all the way in, go and turn the engine over the opposite way that it's trying to go. So when you push that in, say it moves this way, you want to push it back this way. Push the piston back out, see if you can get it top of the cylinder, and then keep cycling it back and forth. Put it back together. Put a little bit of Marvel Mr. Oil, even though you already had some in there, and work, before you put this on anyways, you work it into the cylinder walls, and then you turn the engine over a few times without the spark plug. Change your oil. You do not want the diesel in your oil. It's just not a good thing. If you do this with any of those things, the liquid wrench, the the LMT blaster product, anything, you want to change your oil, because you don't want that stuff in your oil running, you know. So you change your oil, you put the spark plug back in, you start it up. You want to run a little bit of oil in your gas, because you want to make sure everything's lubricated. Sometimes those piston rings need to be freed up while it's running, so sometimes it doesn't lubricate the chamber, and sometimes scores it. So you want a little bit of like motor oil or 2-cycle engine oil in the gas. Don't care what people say about coming up carburetors. You want that in there so you don't score your cylinder. And you let it run for a good 10 minutes before you shut it off, just to warm it up, get everything running and moving again. And then you can run the rest of the gas through, or if you want to, you can change the gas and go back to regular, and you got a good engine again. So yeah, that's how you unseason an engine. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any more questions on unseizing an engine, or anything else that you think I may or may not know, just ask. I may surprise you. So see you later. And just so you know, it works on vertical shaft or horizontal shaft, like that. Works either way. So whatever the engine may be, pretty much the same procedure on a 4-cycle, same thing on a 2-cycle, lawn boy, you know, anything. This one, I had to use a little piece of wood and hit it through the spark plug hole, because 4-cycles usually have the spark plug over the valves, and 2-cycles usually just have the spark plug right over the piston. So I just pushed the piston in, freed that thing up. That thing runs great. So I hope you enjoyed. See you later, YouTube. Time to clean up my shed. Bye.